Thank you, councillors. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we gather on today. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, cultures and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across this great nation. I extend my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and community. I acknowledge their history of wisdom, resilience and survival, and respectfully thank them for their contribution to the life of the city and the region. So welcome to the special council meeting of 19th of June 2023. I declare this meeting open at 10 a.m. I would like to advise meeting attendees that this meeting is being webcast and audio recorded. The special council meeting has been called for the formal adoption of the 2023-2024 budget and the operational plan. Councillors, we do have media in the room. As a result, a motion is now displayed on the screen, yes, to give approval for members of the media to record the proceedings of today's meeting. Please note that this should be the meeting move into a closed session. Please note that should the meeting need to be moved into a closed session, members of the public and media will be asked to leave the public gallery until such time as the meeting resumes in public session. So, as you can see, the motion is on the board. Is there a mover for the motion? Councillor Hall has moved the motion. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Murphy has seconded the motion. Do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? I would imagine so. I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously, therefore the motion has been carried. Council has previously approved the leave of absence for Councillor Bradley at the City Governors Committee meeting held on the 19th of April 2023. We have no further leave of absence to record. Is there a mover for the motion as displayed on the screen? Okay, so Councillor Murphy has moved the motion. Do I have a second to the motion? You don't have to do that? Yeah. All right, we don't have to do that. I didn't think so, but okay. We'll go straight into declarations of conflicts of interest. I now refer to the declarations conflicts of interest. Do any councillors wish to declare a conflicts of interest against any items on today's agenda, including any conflicts which have subsequently arisen from matters discussed previously? I wouldn't have imagined there'd be none. So I'll now refer to the next agenda item, which is the council report. I now refer to item 5.1 relating to the 2023-2024 operational plan. This is a public report with confidential attachments. The attachments are considered confidential on the basis the matter involves the local government's budget. However, the attachments will be placed into the public record on adoption on today's meeting. Do any councillors wish to move into closed session for this item? No. There being none, I now refer to the Chief Executive Officer to speak to the operational plan 2023-24. Mr. Scott, you may proceed, noting that we are not in confidential.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and on that basis I'll keep the comments brief. So the 2023-24 op plan details the key projects we have included within the budget. The plan further highlights Council's commitment to work towards a green city full of pride, opportunity and culture. Progress updates will be provided to Council quarterly throughout the financial year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. I will now open the floor for discussion to all councillors. Do any councillors wish to speak to the report, noting that we are not in confidential? No. There being no further discussion, is there a mover for the report's motion? Councillor Hall has moved the motion. Is there a seconder? Councillor Murphy has seconded the motion. Do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? No. I remind councillors that the documents are confidential, so we won't be having anyone discuss that. Okay, I now open the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously, therefore the motion has been carried. Adoption of the 2023-24 budget. I now refer to item 5.2 relating to the adoption of the 2023-24 budget. This is a public report with confidential attachments. The attachments are considered confidential on the basis the matter involves the local government budget. However, the attachments will be placed into the public record on adoption at today's meeting. Do any councillors wish to move in a closed session for this item? None being so, we will now need to pass a motion to table the confidential attachments to the meeting. The motion is now displayed on the screen. As a procedural motion, I will move the motion. Okay, so you can see it clearly up there. I have moved the motion. I'll put the matter to the floor to vote. Before I do that, do any councillors wish to speak to the motion? No one wishes to speak to the motion. I'll put this matter to the floor to vote. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That has been carried unanimously. Therefore, the motion has been carried. Thank you. Now, thank you, Councillor. I'll now speak to the adopted items. I'll go up to the lectern. Good morning. It is a pleasure and a privilege to deliver the fourth and final budget of this Logan City Council term. As Mayor, I've been pleased to lead the 12 councillors sitting here today. We aspired to high standards of good governance for the City of Logan from the very first day. When we were elected in March 2020, only 4 of us had previous experience in local government. But the 9 new councillors were not scared to roll up their sleeves and get to work. They quickly demonstrated the leadership and decision-making skills needed for a billion-dollar organisation, an organisation that delivers a diverse and unique range of services and programs to the community. We have now delivered 4 budgets representing responsible decision-making and good fiscal management, while also setting up the organisation for long-term success. Our legacy is that Council has raised the bar in how it serves and interacts with the community. We have set the high standards of governance that will continue in future Council terms. The community should expect nothing less from whoever sits in the chamber for years to come. Strong values are the foundation to good decision-making and leadership. Robust decision-making is what makes local government special. We've held each other to account over the past 3 years, with our minds always fixed on what is the best outcome for the whole of the city, regardless of which division they represent. It hasn't always been easy, but we've all committed to working with each other collaboratively. Our CEO, Darren Scott, supported by his executive leadership team, is driving the most intense program of operational reform since our city's boundaries expanded 15 years ago. As this reform continues, the organisation will be able to better focus on the required services and infrastructure for a city that will be home to 500,000 people. When our region hosts the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2032, less than 10 years away, the City of Logan will be the leader of the pack. And that is in part due to the decisions we have made in this term. We have faced the emerging needs and communities' changing expectations with confidence. And one example of this is how we'll lead the change on converting waste into energy. Our biosolids gasification facility has now been operational for more than a year now, turning human waste into energy and biochar fertiliser. We've also been working with our neighbours in Ipswich and Redlands to plan a regional recycling facility that will develop a sustainable local circular economy. This is just the start of our plans to be a leader in this space. I have been an elected representative for the City of Logan for 26 years. I cannot recall many times as challenging as what we're seeing in the economy right now, around the world, across Australia, and here in our city. There are a lot of things that are beyond Council's control. We're feeling similar soaring costs that are impacting residents and businesses. We've seen some of our stock standard shopping list items increase in price by more than 30%. Electricity, fuel and construction costs are biting hard. Changes to the waste levy imposed by the Queensland Government also mean it's going to cost more each year for every tonne of waste we send to the landfill. That is why it's imperative that we look strategically how our organisation operates and spends ratepayers' funds. We were also conscious of improving efficiencies without impacting service delivery. Despite the challenges we've experienced, I strongly believe the budget we are presenting here today balances the books in a high inflation environment while ensuring long-term sustainability. We are projecting an operating surplus of $3.89 million at the end of the 2023-24 financial year. Most residential ratepayers will see a bottom line increase of $2.28 or 4.09% in the new financial year. This is well below the Brisbane CPI of 7.4% in the March quarter. We will deliver new and improved infrastructure across the City of Logan, including $159 million for water and sewage services as part of an overall budget of almost $380 million. $121 million for roads and drainage upgrades as part of an overall budget of $265 million, and $13.4 million for park capital works as part of an overall budget of $63 million. We also continue to support grassroots sport and community infrastructure to keep our neighbourhoods connected. Importantly, our much-loved programs and services will continue to operate, from libraries and pools to community events and environmental initiatives and everything in between. Our city's 350,000 residents deserve the very best quality of life, and they can be assured we will always have that aspiration front of mind in every decision we make. I now invite the Governance Chair, Councillor Karen Murphy, to share more details about today's budget.
Oh, wait. I'm right to go. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe we've got to table a motion first, so bear with us. I can continue? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm honoured to stand beside you today in presenting the 2023-24 budget. As the Governance Chair, I wholeheartedly endorse your sentiments expressed in your speech. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude, especially to Councillor Tim Fraser, my Deputy Chair, who has supported me, to my fellow councillors and council staff who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to provide support and advice over the past several months to bring us to this point. Despite the current economic challenges we face, we are influenced by many factors beyond our control. We have worked hard on this budget to ensure our residents continue to receive high-quality council services they rely on every day. We are fully aware of the impacts of rising living costs on our community, and this budget has carefully prepared for those economic pressures in mind. Today, we present a well-balanced budget that is both responsible and sound. Please let me highlight some of the key points from this budget. As the Mayor mentioned, most residential property ratepayers will experience a modest increase of only $2.28 per week, or 4.09% for the new financial year. We have made great efforts to keep this increase below the Brisbane CPI of 7.4% in the March quarter. Our pensioners will continue to receive a discount on their rate charges for owner-occupied properties. Those full pensioners will receive a $402 per year, while those on a part pension will receive $201. In this budget, we have adjusted some of the rate categories to ensure a fairer and more equitable method of rate assessment across the city. These adjustments will impact certain single-title blocked units, some commercial and industrial operations. Water consumption charges will remain unchanged in 2023-2024. However, there will be a 3% increase in water and sewage connection fees. Additionally, you will notice on your next rates bill that the Queensland Government has increased the bulk water price to 2.12%. To alleviate some impacts of certain charges, we have reduced the burden to residents of lost water due to hidden leaks. Starting from the 1st of July, Council will cover half of the charges of those total leaks. Furthermore, for the first time, all residential properties, including tenanted ones, will also be eligible for this support. To further support our community, this budget allocates funds to assist the numerous community groups and sporting organisations that contribute to the vibrancy of the City of Logan. Council currently provides and maintains 53 general community spaces and 17 community centres. Other council-funded community infrastructure that will be included in this year's budget is $1 million to commence the construction of Wilbur Street Youth Centre in Logan Central, Councillor Lane, and over $1.3 million in grants and programs to enhance social, environment, cultural and economic development across our city. Our extensive road and drainage infrastructure spans over 3,700 kilometres and is one of our city's most valuable assets. The maintenance of this network represents a significant cost in our yearly budget. Excuse me. We have witnessed substantial cost increases in recent times due to rising prices of concrete, steel, bitumen, fuel, along with skilled shortage supplies and supply chain issues. In light of these challenges, we have explored more innovative methods to maintain our road and drainage networks. This budget will allocate $265 million for roads, drainage and engineer services, including $121 million in capital works projects. As part of the overall allocation, Council has utilised high-tech cameras and AI-based computer programs to identify minor repairs before they become major projects. Additionally, our roads crew have been utilising a specially operated truck known as the Jet Patcher, which make potholes repairs quicker and safer. Councillor Wilcox, you'll love that. Key roads and drainage projects currently underway in the pipeline is $38 million for Chambers Flat Road, $32.6 million for the drainage underneath Kelly Street and Kelper Avenue in Eagleby to enhance our flood resilience, and $6.8 million second stage local roads in Jimboomba. Our commitment to environmental preservation has garnered international recognition. The Environmental Fund, much of the funds of the works will be undertaken in these areas. This budget includes a $7 per property towards the environmental levy to sustain a range of activities, services and projects focused on nature, environment and sustainability. The environmental levy for next year will be $94.40 per property. Council has allocated over $17 million in this budget to enhance our green space and protect wildlife corridors, including the construction of the new riverine Discovery 7 on the Albert River at Eagleby, a deep clean of the Logan and Albert rivers to remove large debris from last year's flooding, ongoing funding for Land for Wildlife and Habitat Connection members, community-based events such as the local Logan Eco Action Festival, more environmental grants for community groups, continuing councillors' popular free tree program, and funding for wildlife advisory signs, conservation initiatives, and the benefits to our koalas, platypus, and glossy black cockatoo populations. Over the next 12 months, this budget allocates $63 million for the management and maintenance of our 962 parks and reservoirs over 70 suburbs, including $13.4 million for capital works projects. Many park upgrades are also supported by the Divisional Local Infrastructure Program and the City Beautification Program. These works emphasise innovative and safe design. They feature popular amenities such as basketball half courts, ninja fitness courses, adventure playgrounds, flying foxes, dry creek beds and nature play areas. We are also installing more barbecues, picnic shelters, water bubblers, dog off-leash areas and additional dog waste bins. Waste and recycling services have experienced significant costs across the industry. However, Council remains committed to increasing recycling efforts and reducing the landfill. We have introduced mattress shredding to recover the metal springs for recycling, reducing the landfill space required to discard a mattress by up to 90%. To combat illegal dumping, this budget funds a new rapid response task force targeting individuals who use our streets and footpaths as dumping grounds. Unfortunately, Council receives a high volume of reports about illegal dumping. This funding will arm Council with the resources that is needed to tackle this issue and bring those responsible to account. While charges for some Council waste services will rise on the 1st of July, we will continue to provide 4 free waste vouchers annually for residential property owners, along with free dumping of residential green waste. This budget strikes a balance by investing in various areas that support the needs of residents and businesses, while also creating opportunities for families to thrive in our city. Funding will continue for the Mayor's local job and skill task force, which has already provided employment opportunities for more than 300 individuals of all ages in our local community. We are expanding and upgrading our safety camera network to ensure that the City of Logan remains one of the safest in Australia. Council buildings and facilities will be equipped with more solar panels to reduce electricity costs in this budget. We will also continue to invest in solar-powered speed advisory signs and safer parking programs to improve the road safety, especially around school. In conclusion, this $1 billion budget reflects our commitment to making decisions that are right for the current times, while also safeguarding the future of the City of Logan. We have achieved a balance across all priorities while maintaining a sound financial position for Council. Alongside the Mayor and my fellow councillors, as your Governance Chair, I am proud to present the 2023-2024 Logan City Council budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillors, as you can see, we've got the recommendations up on the screen. I will allow every councillor to speak after this, so just wait for a minute. Do I have a mover? The budget. Councillor Murphy has moved the budget. I've seconded. Councillor Raven has seconded the motion. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? No. I put it to the floor to vote. All those in favour? That has been carried unanimously, therefore the motion has been carried. What I'll do now is I'll start and you don't necessarily have to talk, but if you wish to point something out in the budget, this is your opportunity. So, Councillor Lane.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor, and thank you to Councillor Murphy, the Governance Chair, for delivering this budget. It's really difficult when you're out in the community and people want things and you say, we've actually got a limited budget to be able to deliver it. This budget delivers so many things that are important to so many people in the community. The Wilbur Street Youth Hub is going to be an important part of our community, and I look forward to its implementation, the finishing of construction and the opening of its doors. Council has reflected on the growth in the city and the need in new areas. The old areas are still being serviced, but the new actually has a shortage of items out there, and we look towards this as part of this budget, and I'm very proud of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Lane. Councillor Russell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to thank everyone who's contributed to putting together this budget. I think that it's going to really take care of the community, and so thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. Councillor Kerensky.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Every budget in this term has been a challenging one. Obviously, we've come through the challenges of COVID-19, and I'm really pleased that we're able to hand down a budget that will put us in surplus and good stead for the year ahead. I'd just like to acknowledge that we understand this is a really challenging fiscal time for families, and family budgets are stretched to the limit. And I'd just like to really commend the councillors who went down through items line by line to try and get the extra value out of the dollar. And I'd like to commend the organisation, and in particular our CEO, Mr Scott, for the Value for Money program that you've introduced to Council to try and return more to our community. And also I'm very pleased that we haven't had to cut services that we know the community love and enjoy. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Raven.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to begin by thanking you for your hard work on this budget. For the benefit of the community, many hours were spent with the Mayor reminding us of the cost of living pressures and keeping councillors focused on the issues that our community is facing. And I think that's a very important role that you played, Mr Mayor, and I'm grateful for that. There's two things I'd like to mention specifically in this budget, Mr Mayor, and it's a fantastic budget, and I think it's a very disciplined and responsible budget as well. But one of them is the volunteer firefighters levy, which is now something that everybody in the city contributes a small amount of money to. Before, it was only paid for by the rural residents, but we know that during floods and during other major events that the Rural Fire Brigade comes and helps people in my electorate and other electorates all over the city, burnt out cars, cleaning out houses after flood. They are there to help everybody, and I think it's great that we're supporting them as a citywide motion to really say to them that you're valuable, we appreciate the work you do, and the equipment and services you have are important. And the other one, of course, Mr Mayor, is something I'm very passionate about, is making sure that our rating system is fair. And I'm glad we got to address the situations where some people were not paying as much as they could have been, and now that means that everybody has more resources to share, and those of us who have been paying the full brunt of the rates for so long, I know, Mr Mayor, you were passionate about this, know that it's now being shared out evenly and fairly across the city, which is wonderful for everyone and has meant we could deliver a budget with a much lower rate increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Raven. Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to echo the sentiments of the previous councillors and thank yourself and thank the organisation. Also thank the CEO. We've really tightened our belts to maximise what we can for the dollar that each ratepayer provides towards our rates. And I think what we're doing here is really acknowledging, some of the struggles that people are going through in this day and age, and that's very important for every council and every government to consider. Also, looking at things that people who can't often afford to go take their children to expensive sports and things like that, allowing them their children to have things that are accessible for free in our community, so not cutting back on those things as well. So this is a budget that I'm actually proud of, and I think it addresses a lot of the concerns that many of the residents have had. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hall, Councillor Fraser, Councillor Hirameyer, Councillor Bannon, Councillor Stemp, Councillor Wilcox, Councillor Murphy. You're the chair. I thought you would have had something to say. No. All right, there being no further items today, I now declare the meeting of the Special Council meeting closed at 10:29 a.m. Thank you very much.